Why put a diode in each direction? So one diode this way, one diode this way, and they're connected together. Well, it's actually a very important circuit, and in this video, I'll explain exactly why this is done, and I'll give you examples. I'll show you exactly what this looks like electrically as well. Welcome to another video series here at Mr. Carlson's Lab. If you'd like to stay current in this video series, definitely subscribe and hang around. I've got many more videos coming in the very near future, just like this one, showing you all sorts of things about electronics that you may not know. All right, let's get started. Here are the exact two diodes that you've seen in the thumbnail. I'll zoom on in. They're really small, as you can see here. So these two diodes are 1N4148 small signal diodes, and as you can see, one is in a direction this way and the top one is going this way right here. This is a very, very important circuit for very sensitive front ends in, say, radio receivers or in any type of test equipment. What exactly does this do? Well, I will show you. On this test equipment, it's actually a really neat function of the diode, and it can actually grow from this. You can use, depending on the sensitivity of the front end, you can actually use transistors configured as diodes because they're less leaky. I'll talk more about that later on. So here is a function generator, and it's set to about 1 kilocycle or 1 kilohertz if you like, and the output is around 2 volts RMS. All right, so you can see here 2 volts. I don't know if you can see that there. I'll zoom in a little bit better. So, 2 volts RMS there, and the scope will follow it. Now, I've got 2 leads right here where I can clip these diodes in to show you exactly what they do. So what happens with diodes is diodes turn on at roughly about 0.6 of a volt. Depending how much current is applied to them, it'll move around. Diodes make exceptional temperature sensors, and I'll talk more about that in the future as well. I've actually used diodes as very sensitive temperature sensors in some of my equipment where many thermistors have failed, and NTC type thermistors have failed. Diodes, they just keep going and going and going. But anyways, so this particular circuit here, really on a piece of paper, I'll draw this quickly. Hopefully this pen is going to work okay. So we have one diode like this, and one diode like that. So they're connected together. That's what I, showed you right here. Hopefully you can see this okay. So like that. Well, we know most diodes take roughly around, say, 0.65 of a volt to turn them on. So up until 0.65 of a volt, the diode pretty much looks like an open circuit. But once you reach that, this thing turns on and says, hey, that's enough. Now I'm going to start conducting. Now, depending on the diode, there's different types of diodes, germanium and Schottky, but today we're looking at just a standard silicon diode. You can actually bring this down if you use a Schottky diode or germanium diodes as well. So, but this one here would say limit off at about 0.65 of a volt. All right, and that's 0.65 of a volt forward. All right, so that's what it takes to actually turn the diode on. Before that, aside from leakage, all right, depending on the actual circuit, aside from that, yeah, it's pretty standard for most, silicon diodes. All right, so now the circuit that I have here set up with this, all right, just so that I don't short the function generator, I've got a resistor right here. This is 150 ohms. All right, that's 150 ohms. So the function generator itself is clamped to this point, and it runs off to this piece of coax cable right here. All right, so it's clamped to this point, and it will be clamped at this point here. So we have this running off to a piece of coax cable, and then, of course, that's running up to this point right here. The oscilloscope cable that you see, which would be coming off the top of the scope, you can't see it, but it's coming off the top of the scope here and running over here. The oscilloscope cable would be over here. The common would be connected to here, and the pickup lead for the oscilloscope here, the signal lead, would be clipped to this point right here. So I'll just jump this, and that goes off to the oscilloscope. Okay, so what I'm basically doing is I'm protecting the output of my function generator by putting this right here. So when I put the diodes here, when it loads the output, it'll actually load this, right? Instead of taking and limiting the output of my function generator to these diodes, and it'll make these diodes really hot because the function generator supplies current to the circuit. All right. So that's the reason this is here, and this is very important to do. If you ever want to perform a test like this, you always want to have a load resistor in there, because diodes, when they turn on, they clamp, right? And they're, relatively low impedance device, and they don't want to let go. So if I was to take, say, just one diode, okay, so we have a signal coming out of here, and as you can see, it's swinging positive. So this is the same type of signal. It's much faster, and of course the amplitude is lower, but this is the same kind of signal that is just a standard AC signal. So like the signal at your wall outlet. The signal at your wall outlet would have quite a bit more amplitude. I'll move that over there, or maybe up here, and so it doesn't fall on my hand. So what's basically happening is it's going positive and negative. So you see where this A is right here. I'll zoom you into the screen just a little bit better so that you can see that. And move this over. You can see that okay. So you see where the A is, that's 0. Okay, so that's 0 volts. So what's happening with the AC is it's going positive, and then it hits a peak and comes down, comes to 0 again, and then it switches polarity and goes negative. And it's doing this. So this is considered one cycle from here to here, right? And if you were to take this, how you could remember one cycle, you see how it kind of looks like this, right? That's one cycle. If you do this, it makes a circle, right? So one complete circle, or one cycle, okay? That's one cycle, and then it starts over and does it again, another cycle, right? So we're technically, we're displaying, one cycle here and another cycle here, okay? And a little bit of the last. But, so the signal is going positive, coming to 0, going negative, coming to 0, going positive, coming to 0, going to negative, coming to 0, things like that. So if I was to take just a standard diode, like so, move this down here again. So if I was just to take a standard everyday diode, right, which is just one of those diodes, and depending on which way I put that diode, look what it does to the signal. So from 0 up to here, it's not letting it, even go, roughly about a volt, right? So that's, 0.65 a volt. It's clamping it off, but it's letting the other half of the signal do what it wants, right? So that's with one diode. So if I reverse it, what do you think is going to happen? Well, this will reverse. It'll clamp it on the negative side now. So I'll reverse the diode, and you'll see it clamp the negative side. Look at that. Now it's clamping the negative side. If I can make this clip on here. So now it's clamping the negative side. So if I put 2 of them in there, we should, see the diode's actual voltage here. So I'll take the 2 diodes from the thumbnail, and I'll clip it in to the 2 test leads here, and look what happens. It's clipping both sides. Hey, look at that, 0.65 of a volt, right? We're close to. Now that'll change a little bit as I, change the amplitude, because as I put more current across this, the diodes forward will change a little bit, right? These are small signal diodes. So now, I'll remove this again, so there's no control over this signal. So right now, this signal is actually being capped at this, and it won't move very much at all. So if I was to take the amplitude here, right, and up the amplitude on the function generator, right now we're at 2 volts. So if I go to 3 volts, look at that. It's only moved up to 0.7. If I go to 4 volts, it's 0.72, so it's hardly moving at all, right? Acting kind of like a shunt regulator in each direction, right? At the diode's forward voltage, there's 5 volts. Look at it, 0.74, right? So now if I turn this back down to where I had it at 2 volts, right? You can see we're back at the, the forward voltage. It's moved up just a little bit, and chances are it will, because I'm putting a bit of current across these really small diodes here. As you can see, it's clamping it. You can see it's keeping it right there on the screen, but yet, if I remove the diodes, watch what happens. Look at how big that gets. Now I'll do the same thing. I'll move it up to 3 volts. Look at that, it's off the screen. 4 volts, so high it's not even reading it anymore. 5 volts, so I actually have to adjust the scope so that it shows that again, right? See, 4.98 volts there. Yet, if I put the diodes across here, it's clamping it. In fact, it's so low now that it's not even triggering on it. So I'll turn this back up again so it'll trigger on it. Look at that. So it's clamping it down. So basically what this is doing in a receiver's front end is it's clamping the front end of the radio receiver down so it won't let the signal go too incredibly high and damage the front end of a radio receiver. This is a small semiconductor curve tracer project that I designed and released in my Patreon electronics course. This is very handy for looking at small semiconductors, and of course if you want to do any type of circuit tracing, this works very well for that as well. This is a $5 oscilloscope. And this was found at a local swap meet, and these can be found at online auctions and very easily turned into curve tracers. This has got a whole bunch of little functions in it, and it even has a sleep circuit, so it saves a little CRT screen there, which you may even see it do here in a moment. So what this will end up doing is going to sleep so that you don't get burn-in on the actual CRT. You'll see this little light here start to flash. There it's flashing, and you'll see the little traces zip off the screen, zip. See that? That's all designed in there, and I've released all of this circuitry in my Patreon electronics course with all the alignment procedures and printed circuit board layouts and everything if you want to build a semiconductor curve tracer. So anyways, what I'll do here is I'll tap the probes together and wake it up, and I'll put these two diodes, the same two diodes that we looked at in the thumbnail here, put them in the clips, and if we take a look at the screen, nothing happened. So I'll zoom you in. So nothing's happening here. So I can turn the amplitude down. So basically what I'm doing by doing this is I'm turning the amplitude down. The same kind of amplitude you saw on the oscilloscope, I'm turning that signal either down or up, making the signal larger or smaller. But as you can see, when I turn the amplitude up to a certain rate, you can see how it's clamping on each side. So this point here and this point here, when it turns the corner, is when the diodes are actually turning on. But below the diode's turn-on voltage, you can see from here to here, nothing's happening. The diodes look invisible to the circuit until you hit about 0.65 volts positive and negative, and it starts to turn on. So at about that point, right about there, right about here, we're at about 0.65 of a volt, just as it starts to take the corner. And this point here, you can see it's not giving way. It's just going down and down and down and up and up and up. And that's because it's really clamping hard. It's holding that in there. Again, somewhat like a shunt regulator in both directions. And that's what it's doing in the front end of a radio receiver. And the front end of a radio receiver, of course, is dealing with signals in the microvolt range, right? Because radio signals are really quite small. So these diodes, the two little diodes here that are in the test lead, look completely invisible to the circuit below 0.65 of a volt positive or negative. And because it's invisible to the circuit, it doesn't affect the radio's receiver, aside from maybe some very small leakage in the diodes, because diodes are somewhat leaky. These small signal diodes are rather leaky. So, and that's when they start to turn on. And that's way, way, way above any type of radio signal that you would hear. So it's completely invisible in this zone, right? And that's well within the zone, very well within the zone of any radio receiver. So very, very handy devices to have in the front end of a radio receiver. Completely protects the front end of a radio receiver. So what I'll do here is I'll back this out a little bit so you can actually see. So you can see we're at about 0.4 of a volt. And that's applying that at the test leads there. If I move this up to say around 0.6 of a volt, 0.63, you can see it's starting just to take the corner there because it's lightly loading the diodes. Diodes are usually never right at 0.65, they're around. And of course, if the diodes heat, the forward voltage of the diode will actually change, and they can be used as temperature sensors, as I talked about. And as you can see, it's going up and up and up and up, right? So this isn't the clamp voltage, this is just reading what the screen is showing. It's not showing what is the diodes are clamping at, because this would hold it down, right? So this is actually showing what the screen is displaying. But if we go right to about the corner to where they start to turn on, you can start to see right about here, starting to take the corner. And, we're definitely, the diodes are fully on at that point. And as you can see, they're just clamping very, very hard. Here's a single 1N4148 diode right here. One of the diodes that I used in the original display. And if we test this diode with a standard tester, you can see that. You'll hear the beep. Test's okay. See how those numbers are counting down on the meter? That's because my finger is heating the diode. If I remove my finger from the diode, see how it starts to count back up? And I'll heat it again and it'll count back down. That's because, again, diodes make excellent temperature sensors. So you can see the diode is working okay. See that, right? And I'll reverse the leads, and it shouldn't read anything, right? That tests as a good diode. But did you know that diodes are very leaky? So what I'll do is I'll take the leads here, and I'll put the lead like so. And look at that. We're in the second scale, it's leaking, so if I actually take the resistance of my fingers and touch across the diode, you'll see this go back into the red scale. See that? So I'm adding the leakage of my body across the diode, and it goes into the red scale, and you can see it count down and go into the yellow scale. And if I reverse the diode, of course the diode will be on and it'll be the very first red light. So if I short this, if I actually short the leads, see how it's the very first red LED? That indicates a short. So if I turn the diode around, right, the diode will be on, and as you can see, it looks like a short. But in the opposite direction, again, it is leaky. And many people don't know that. These small diodes are actually very, very leaky. And that's the reason that transistors can be configured as diodes to get lower leakage. There you have it. This is the capacitor leakage tester that I'm using to display the actual leakage of a diode here. This is another project that you can build, and all the plans and everything for this are all available in my Patreon electronics course. It does a lot more than just test capacitors, as you see. If you enjoyed this video, definitely subscribe and hang around. I have many more videos coming in the near future, just like this one, and electronic videos involving troubleshooting, teardowns, restorations, circuitry design, and all of that great stuff, and much more as well. If you'd like to take your electronics knowledge to a much higher level and gain access to many of my personal electronic inventions, creations, and designs, a few of which you have seen in this video, all the plans to build all of these various devices are in my Patreon electronics course. It's a zero pressure place to be. You learn at your own rate, or you can just watch quietly in the background, or if you like, you can just build the projects. Definitely check it out. I'll put the link just below the video's description under the Show More tab, and I'll pin the link at the top of the comment section. You can click on those links and it'll take you right there. Or if you're more comfortable in just using Google, just Google Mr. Carlson's Lab Patreon and I'll pop right up. All right, until next time, take care. Bye for now.